Hello and welcome back to my channel, and I thought you guys might want to see an interesting feature of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, including GeForce Experience and Ubisoft itself. So it's been a while since I actually played Breakpoint for the simple reason we've done it all. We've done it on regular mode, we've done it on extreme mode. We finished the game in co-op, so you know there's only that much you can actually do there. Now, since it's been a while, I had to re-download the game, do a fresh install and play around a bit. And since we have 3070 Ti, I wanted to see what would be the performance increase in comparison to 1080 Ti I was usually playing it with. And I found a very interesting thing. So if you go for Ubisoft Connect, sorry. If you want to play the game, you will see two different API calls. The DX11, or probably a 12 one, and a Vulcan API, which supposedly gives your GPU a better instruction set to run the game a bit more efficiently. Now when we go over to the GeForce Experience, however, we see a little bit different picture. We see two separate game instances, and if we put on details, we can see that one of these are not marked as a Vulcan API, it's just marked in Uplay download as a full path. And if we go for the regular Breakpoint exe file, we see just regular Breakpoint, which is a little bit odd. Let me explain you why. If we go in the C drive and we go for Ubisoft, where the game is installed, so you're going to go for the game launcher, we're going to go for the games, we're going to go for the Breakpoint. We scroll down a little bit, we can see clearly the executable files, and we see that this is the Ghost Recon Breakpoint, whichever DirectX version this is supposed to be, and we see the Vulcan API. So the UPP ones is the Ubisoft paid subscriptions or Ubisoft Plus. So I don't know, maybe they just called it Ghost Recon Breakpoint Ubisoft paid plus subscription. Who knows? It's a little bit weird that they have a separate executable just to launch the game in this mode. I do believe it's more about verification that you know you have actually active Ubisoft subscription running, but you don't really need a separate exe for that unless you're getting a performance boost. Now obviously I'm not gonna go down this conspiracy theory of mine. I'm gonna take off my tinfoil hat. We're just gonna take a look at two different things. We're gonna run this game with a regular DirectX version, and then we're gonna run a benchmark with a Vulcan API. So this is gonna be a lengthy video. So let's start your casual, usual Breakpoint game. We are running 3070 Ti, and we're gonna shoot for the stars. We're gonna go for 4K ultra settings on everything. We're gonna see how many frames we get, what's the score in the end, how it actually fares and does things. And then we're gonna go for the Vulcan API, see what score we get, and we're gonna compare the two to see if it's actually better to go for DirectX 11/12, or should you be always using Vulcan API. I am conscious about the video I released previously, trying to find the stutter fix back in the day, and I'm not sure if the stutter is still there because honestly I gave up on the game. But since it is in my collection, I decided to revisit it, and that meant basically freshly download and install the game. So it is currently running from NVMe drive. The latest NVIDIA drivers are in place, and all that's actually really left is to just launch the game, which is kind of not launching for whatever reason. I did see the swirly thing of the windows, so I wonder what's up with that. Let's give it a second, it might actually come around. Or not. Let's check our task manager real quick. And I don't see Breakpoint exe running at all. It's almost like we never launched the game. And then people ask me, why don't you like Ubisoft? Well, I don't know. I guess because their games are just very good. They're properly coded, they run as they're supposed to, you pay money for a quality product, and you get what you paid for. Yes, that's it. That's why I really, really enjoy certain Ubisoft titles to their fullest. But hey, looks like it's actually doing something this time. So this is supposed to be, I do believe it's a DirectX 12 version. I'm not sure. Also, the DirectX, well, I mean the Ubisoft performance benchmark doesn't actually tell you which version you're running. So I can only guess. Since this is a 2019 title, I would expect it to actually run with DirectX 12, but then again, nobody really knows and Ubisoft is not telling you. There's no separation in regards to the exe files, which would actually outline which version you are launching, so we're kind of stuck with what we see. So let's take a look what we actually have. So my profile loaded up fine. Perfect. Let's go for the settings. Take a look at the video, and we are 4K native, no vertical sync, texture quality is on ultimate, temporal injection in place, anti-aliasing in place, which I would usually turn off, but I let GeForce Experience do its thing and optimize both of these APIs, or exe files, and that's pretty much all there is. So the preset apparently is custom, and I just cannot put my finger on what's been changed, because everything's on high and ultra. Maybe the fixed aspect might be changed, I'm not sure, but everything is just looking as high as you can possibly go, really. Oh well, let's run the benchmark, see where we end up here, and then we're gonna visit the Vulcan and see if that brings any changes for us. So when it comes to Breakpoint, I haven't actually played the game for a while, so I'm not sure if there's any new seasons out that you can play and enjoy. I played through all of them, and I don't know, I kind of find myself being back into Ready or Not. Talking about Ready or Not, you ready or not for the benchmark run? Let's go. So we are actually close to 60 frames at the current moment. Well, sub 60 a little bit. CPU is doing fine, GPU is doing also fine, so all is not that bad, the performance department here. I did feel a little bit of a stutter that can be displayed in a graph here. So let's see how this actually plays out. So I do believe with 2080 Ti, I do believe we were close to 12,000 rendered frames. So that's kind of like my benchmark where I would want to see 3070 to land on. But it really depends on the API you use. In my opinion, Vulcan should be always the best choice due to the instruction set. And then again, this game is kind of optimized under AMD, so if you're running Ryzen or you're running an AMD GPU, you are in a way better place than I am, even with the 3070 Ti. Then again, we are running 4K, everything maxed out, so you know, it's tit for that. I'm not saying I'm jealous about AMD guys, but I might be a little bit jealous about AMD guys, you know, end of the day. So let's take a look. We're sub 60 heavily. The CPU usage is kinda inconsistent, and GPU is not doing too bad. Currently, at least doing the benchmark runs, there's no drops of the FPS or the CPU, so maybe they did improve a thing or 20. Who knows? I haven't heard about any major updates for the game, so I might be wrong. So for the next minute and a half, I'm just gonna shut up and enjoy my Saturday. And I hope you guys have something to do, because as much as I love talking, I just cannot do it that much. See you in a minute. So here we have it. So we still get the total score of A. with an average FPS being 64, CPU average usage 50, and GPU 97, and the frame score we have 10,000, which is not bad, but it clearly should be a little bit higher considering 3070 Ti raw power over 1080 Ti, and we did this test with 1080 Ti as well. But hey ho, here we are. So, what I suggest to do is actually, since this channel doesn't really do any splits and skips anymore because 4K, and I explained that before, we're just gonna quit this regular version, let the clouds sync up the game, and we're gonna run it in Vulcan. So what we have to do is just beat the score of 10,000 and see if that is any better. It's of course the almighty Ubisoft who actually launched the Vulcan API EXE, because he didn't want to do it the first time with the regular DX, whichever. Looks like it's doing something and it is launching it. So I wonder. So when it comes to Breakpoint and Ubisoft, there are a couple of weird things I've noticed, specifically when using GeForce Experience. It adjusts things in a game, but I cannot find the game config file to actually verify these changes. I crawled up and down the game folder, where usually the config file is stored or created once you started the game and you set your settings, because that's how the game knows which settings to use every time you launch it. It might be based on the fact that it's a cloud save based game, that it might actually save it up in a cloud. Then again, if you change your hardware, the game will actually read off your hardware and will create a new file. And I don't know, maybe I'm just missing a point here, really. So since we are now with the Vulcan API, I wonder what the performance is gonna be like. So everything loaded up correctly. Let's go for options, settings. It should be exactly the same, considering that GeForce Experience actually applied the same settings for both APIs, or both EXE, call it as you want. And it is saying the preset is custom again. I don't see anything custom about this. Everything is pretty much up, but the VRAM usage is actually below 8 gigs. And if I put this custom preset to ultimate, it will go above 8 gigs. So there's clearly some magic being done. So let's run the benchmark and see where we end up, and see if the Vulcan API will be able to break the 10,000K ceiling. I think it should, or it won't. But it's time for the answers, because I might have an idea or 20 what to do with this game in the near future, and I want to see the performance with the top of the line 3070 Ti. And honestly, the performance seems a little bit worse than with the DirectX version. The GPU usage is 1% higher, the CPU usage is roughly the same with the slight spikes up and down, and the frames are, well, not too happy. So again, I'm gonna leave you guys for about 2 minutes, enjoy my Saturday, and I'll be back once we're closer to the end. Remember, we have 10K in the score to beat. So, what do you guys think? We're averaging the same FPS regardless of the API we use or the EXE we use. We get 1000 more in terms of for the frames. And I think these results are a little bit skewed. And the reason I'm telling you that is because of the 1080 Ti. When we ran this test on 4K for 1080 Ti, it was actually averaging out on 55 frames. And we were getting a B score. So I wonder if we can prove our point by bumping down the resolution to 1440p or 2K under the Vulcan API and see if we're gonna get a better score. First off, 3070 Ti is not exactly a full-blown 4K gaming card on Ultra, nor the CPU is the best one to provide all the necessary data. However, I did not see anything that would indicate a bottleneck. So I wonder if that's simply the game engine unable to take full advantage of the hardware provided, which is not actually that surprising in all honesty. This is a 2019 title and it did have some upgrades or patches issued. So let's see. Let's run a 2K bench and see if we get anything more, and straight off the bat we do. So maybe this is the way to play this game, who knows? I would love to play this game on, I would say, 65-70 frames on 4K Ultra. But it looks like that 2K is the best case scenario. However, if you notice the GPU utilization, it's nowhere near 98% as it was on the previous run for the 4K. At the same time, the CPU is now basically hovering a little bit higher in terms of usage. So if I would interpret this correctly, there is a slight bottleneck here, which is a bit odd because in 4K there should not be that much of a CPU bottleneck as for the GPU, as the CPU definitely can provide the data based on all the games I played before in 4K. But then again, we are getting higher frames, so maybe the 3070 is just unable to handle 4K in its full glory. So let's see if we actually break 11,000K frame score, and so far it looks like it might be the case. So who knows, maybe we just need to play this game in 2K. Forgot about 4K unless we do a serious massive system upgrade for a game that's been around for a while, well, technically 3 years now, with no major updates anymore, apart from Rainbow Six Siege operators as your teammates, a little bit of customization, and that's about it. Then again, 2K is not exactly the, the lowest part of things, so might be the way to move forward. Let's take a look, and I'll shut up for the next 1 minute. So, there you have it. So now we have a frame score of 18,000 on Vulcan API with average frames 106. So what do you guys think? I'll tell you what I think. I think we need to run the DX11/12 again and see if we get anywhere near this particular. Now, I wouldn't say that this is a bad benchmark by any means. I would say that this kind of shows the possibilities of the GPU we are currently running and the overall system performance. Considering the Breakpoint has never been the most optimized title from all the titles I played in my library, then again, I would kind of expect for game to perform a little bit better. When it comes to graphical fidelity though, even on Full HD ultra settings, volumetric fog, the lightning, all that feel, if you traverse the terrain, you will love this game. It looks very good. If you are a long-time Wildlands player, you're probably gonna be like, well, Wildlands did it better, you know, this and that. Fair enough. I'm not gonna argue with it. But at the same time, you kind of need to play what you can on the highest frame rate you can without sacrificing graphical fidelity. First off, you paid for it, so use all the things, all the tricks up your sleeve that you can to actually achieve this. And honestly, even though I have a 4K TV, 2K doesn't look too bad on it, so, you know, I'm ready to settle. Then again, playing in 4K with 50 frames per second in a game that doesn't require 60 is not too bad of an experience. But then again, if you're going for this responsiveness and stuff for the PvE, probably you want to do that. So we have everything, again, the custom preset. Let's see if DirectX executable provides us similar or better performance. So we do have a couple thousand FPS scores to beat. And straight off the bat, the FPS is actually pretty decent, so I wonder where we're gonna end off. Maybe this is a 2K card. At the same time, 1080 Ti is a 2K card. 2080 Ti is a 2K/4K card. And, you know, so on. So maybe the 3000 series for Ubisoft is a no K card. Who knows? I would love to see, guys, if you have anyone who actually runs its own YouTube channel with an AMD card, not even the top of the line, just a medium one. I would want to see what frames you guys are getting with Ryzen CPUs and AMD GPUs. I would just want to see the comparison because, again, this game is optimized under AMD. So I do believe you guys are getting a little bit better instruction set on how to render or run the game. So I would be very, very interested in seeing that. So if you can just point me to the right direction, please do. I want to see that. Make it I would say just an honest comparison. It's not about Team Red versus Team Green. It's more about, you know, we're all one community. We need to know these things if you're making a next build. If you're on a budget, if you want to get the bang for your buck, if you want to go for the top build in your price range or just for future proofing, you want to know which team to pick. And honestly, let's face it, I'm team blue slash green, okay? So I run Intel and I will always run Nvidia. And I know that there are people who will die on the hill with AMD and Ryzen. So I think it's not about comparing or, you know, I'm better, I'm worse. It's just see what's better. Ryzen has made amazing advancements in CPUs over the last couple years. The GPUs are on par or even better than Nvidia's in some cases, and with the new 4000 series being leaked from Nvidia, supposedly blowing out the 3000 series of the water, I think it's a good time to actually revisit this. And I know AMD have a trick up their sleeve as well. Fully rebuilt our RDNA 2 architecture. They're gonna go for something new. They have their own, well, proprietary DLSS, well, technically FSR and ray tracing. So, you know, it's gonna be like the battle of the giants, and we're just caught in the middle. So if we want to get something, we kind of need to get it to the bottom of this to just make it all very nice for the people who are trying to build their PCs. It's not about just being a fanboy, oh, take this because it's the best. Look at the budget, look at the performance, always go for bang for the buck. So we got 16,000 as a frame score, and average frames are 97. So I think this is a pretty clear cut when it comes to what settings you need to run with this game. Let's just quickly Launch the game itself, see if these frames hold up in real life, if at all, and go from there. However, at this point, guys, if you survived, you are free to go and make yourself a coffee. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week or weekend or life. And I'll see you all next time. The next bit is just me running around for about 5 minutes with the metrics on and just seeing how this all looks in 2K. Honestly, it doesn't actually look that bad, all things considered. Specifically when you remember this game being an absolute disaster when it just launched. You know, playing it in 2K with altered settings, it's probably the best of the both worlds. I think I needed to take binoculars, really. Then I needed to just look at the place I wanted to check out and see what happens. I think I saw an enemy there. That's the money, man, going away. Performance is quite good. And I think I'm still playing on extreme difficulty because I only have like one primary weapon and one sidearm. So it's a good thing that I noticed that right now. Just need to swap back to my flashbangs and just really go in, all things considered. I'm getting wrecked on the way because I didn't notice that guy. But guess what? I have the medicine for it. Which is death. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Over and out.